In order to understand the BEAT THANG hardware, you really have to understand the individual sections. So I'm going to just go over it right quick, and I'm going to tell you where everything is, and I'm going to talk a little bit about every section. All right, now let's talk about the navigation. So it's real easy to get around BEAT THANG. You basically got 2 knobs and 4 buttons that are going to get you around the device and allow you to quickly and easily change values in any mode that you want to go in, right? So here's your cursor knob in the upper left-hand corner, and as you turn this cursor knob in any edit mode, it basically is going to move you around the edit screen. When you turn it backwards, then you'll see your cursor move around backwards. So forwards and backwards, and any place that you can highlight with your cursor is basically going to be a place where you can change a value. And when you want to change the value, then you can just grab your data knob and change that value. See how I'm changing my track here by just changing the data knob. And here's the beauty of BEAT THANG is that you don't just have to change or move in one way. I can also change my data by using the data buttons, backward and also forward. But here's another thing. If I want to quickly jump to some other place in the Audition edit window, then I can just hit these soft keys and it'll move me around like so, the Audition edit window. And then once I move to another little soft key location, then I can change the value of that location by either turning the data knob or clicking a data button. This is the Audition edit window. And at the bottom of the Audition edit window, you'll see basically 4 little keys called soft keys. Every time you change and go into a different mode, you'll notice that the soft keys will change. Basically what you see above the soft keys tells you what that soft keys function is in that mode. So pay attention to that because it will always be doing different things depending on what you're actually doing. Freak is your crazy effects, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna have distortion and wah and modulation, flange, chop and screw, that kind of stuff. Everything freaky is gonna be a freak effect, hence the name Freak Effects. Yeah. Delay is just a basic tap delay, you know what I'm saying? It's a spatial delay. Verb is a reverb. Bang is compression and limiting. And blang is actually a visual effect. So you hit the blang button and you get full illumination. Hit it again. You get no illumination. Hit it again. You get just the grill and whatever button is selected. Hit it again. You get medium illumination.
Now, how do I edit my effects? Well, real easy. All you have to do is hold down edit and then click the effect. And then you'll see it changes on the screen here. So now I can set my different ones to like phaser, or the different like flangers, old record, 8-bit, all high pass filters, low pass filters, all that. So, how do I make a new effect? Well, you can make your own effects on BEAT THANG too. And the way I do that is I just held down edit and then freak, or edit and reverb, or edit and delay, or edit and bang. Each, whatever one you're trying to work on. So let's say for example, freak. Then I would just click new. And then I can select, you know, the type of effect I'm trying to, and anytime I want to hear it, I just click the button once and it turns it on. And so I want to choose phaser, and I can set the frequency of the phaser, set the LFO frequency. You hear it's making the sound crazy. Alright, and just take some experimenting to get the effects that you want. You know, that's a crazy one. But now let's maybe find like an old record. Phaser, low pass filters, vinyl. So I can set to vinyl, and I can set the year of the vinyl. Say I can set, the lower I go in the setting, like the year, like that's a record from the 1920s, right? Or I could set it to be a record from 1975, and I want it to be 45 RPMs, and I want the surface to be really warped. I want to add more crackle. You know what I'm saying? I want that record to be worn out, so I can set the wear and tear of the record. And now I want to save that effect. Just hit save, and I can call that 1975. So like, make it sound like it's an old beat up record from 1975. Boom, just like that. I can save it to my device. And there it is. Anytime I want to go back to it, there's my flanger, I can go back to it. I can turn it on and off, just like that. And the same thing works for reverb and delay. Like I could hold down edit, reverb, and I could choose whether it's in a room or a hall, or there's a bunch of different presets. I can make my own presets by clicking new, set the size of the room, the damping, the width of the room, all that kind of good stuff. Same goes for delay. I can run through the different presets here in delay. I can make my own, click new. I can tempo sync that delay, set the milliseconds to the delay, feedback of the delay, name it, save it, and the same works for bang. So the different ones here, mastering type of effects. You'll see all different types of presets here. Some that just are just limiters, some that adds a little EQ, you know what I mean? A little bit of bass, a little bit of treble, whatever. 2-inch tape, emulation, and I can make my own as well.
See 6 little keys that basically are your transport section. These are basic symbols that you should recognize. This is a return to 0, takes you all the way back to the top. This is to go back 1 bar. This one will take you forward 1 bar. There's your record, there's your stop, and there's your play button. This is how you play your patterns. Play, stop, and record with your patterns, and basically move around the song and move around your patterns. Look in the middle of the machine, and you're gonna see 9 buttons that basically allow you to access your tracks. Now your track is basically how you're gonna layer music. So if you hit the 1 button, that's gonna take you to track 1. If you hit the 2 button, that's gonna take you to track 2, so on and so forth. You actually have 16 tracks on the device. So if you want to access 9 through 16, then you hit the 9 through 16 button. Now 1 becomes 9, 2 becomes 10, so on and so forth, and all the way out to the 16th track. Your tracks are basically where you're gonna put your kits and instruments so that you can overdub and layer those kits, those performances of those kits, those performances of those instruments. You're gonna layer those and create your pattern. So if you look over to the right of the machine, just by the modulation wheel, then you're gonna see a little button that says mixer. And right next to that is gonna be a mute and a solo button. The mixer section is really pretty unique because this allows you to mix the overall levels of the kits and the instruments that you have assigned to each track. So in that way you can quickly bring down an instrument level or quickly bring up an instrument level, just overall level of that track in and of itself. And you can also do sends of that overall level to your effects. If you look on either side of the machine, then you're gonna see 2 wheels. The one on the left is a pitch wheel. The one on the right is the mod wheel. The pitch wheel controls the change in pitch in real time. The mod wheel controls the change in modulation in real time. So if you grab the pitch wheel, then you're gonna be able to change the pitch of any one of those tracks as you play down, and you can also record that pitch and play back that pitch. Same thing with the modulation wheel. There are different envelopes that you're going to be able to control with this modulation wheel, and you'll be able to record those modulation moves in real time as you sweep that frequency. Anytime that you want to edit anything that you're looking at, whether it's a pattern or a kit or a song or an effect, you're going to hit the edit key and it'll get you into the edit mode. If you look at the soft keys when you're in audition mode, you usually see a little edit above the soft key as well. Whenever you want to save something, save a pattern, save a kit, whatever it is you want to save, the save is just a quick way to get in and save everything. And of course, you know, Beat Thang is a computer, and like with any other computer, you have to remember to save often. So that's a good key to get familiar with and to spend some time with. Next key is going to be your exit key. Anytime you're in an edit mode or in some kind of mode that you don't want to be in, then a quick way to back up is to just hit that exit key. If you jumped into say pattern mode and then you went into pattern edit and you want to just back up, just hit the exit key. That backs you up, right up out of that mode. Undo is basically like any other undo that you would see on any other application. Gives you one level of undo. So if you're recording and you take a pass and you want to just undo the last thing you did, just hit the undo key. It'll back you up one level and you can start all over and try to get it right. Next function is the insert copy key. Whenever you want to insert or copy something, you hit that and follow the dialog. It walks you through the insert copy process. Next key is the delete key. Whenever you want to delete a sample or delete a kit or delete a track, basically get rid of something, then you hit the delete key and you'll be prompted whether you want to delete or not, and you just tell it yes or no. Sometimes you may hit it by mistake. Don't worry, it's going to ask you, are you sure you really want to do this? You can say yes or no by hitting one of the soft keys. So if you hit the export key, that's going to take you to the export screen. You got two ways to export. Basically, you can export a live mix, so you can change and mix things in real time. Live on is going to be the default, or you can export straight to file. You'll do that by just selecting live and turning live off. When you turn live off, then it just goes right to the file, and you can solo or mute files to get different takes, to isolate different tracks or different elements that you want on their own track, and they're all sample accurate and they're all going to be lined up. You just pull them over into your DAW and boom, there they are. Next function is a system function. If you want to access this function, you just hit the system key. And the cool thing about the system function is it doesn't pull you out of other functions. So system is where you're going to find things like your buffer size, your pad sensitivity, your MIDI status, MIDI messages, where your MIDI root note needs to change, basically all kinds of global system things. There's a USB mode, and there's also some about information on the system side. This is basically where you want to go to perform your general functions. Next function is your volume function. So you access that by hitting your volume button. This is another function that doesn't pull you out of the last function. You just basically do what you need to do, and you either hit the exit soft key or the exit button. You come back out of it in your last function. So volumes, basically you got a lot of independent volumes that you can control in the Beat Thang. You can control your main output volume here. You can control your headphone volume. Of course, there's two headphones, so you got separate control of each headphone in the volume screen. And you've also got a line level input volume that you can control from this screen. So just use your cursor to cursor up and down, and use your data to change the value of each one of these volumes.
Just click the pattern button. It should be the default setting, but if you get lost, always come back to the pattern button. And then you can just twist this knob here and you can scroll through the patterns that come with Beat Thang. So I just find one that I want to play here, right here. And then I can either click the load button or I can press enter on the knob and that'll load it up. hit play, and it plays that beat. Just click the pattern button. Then I'm going to click new here on the main screen. This little button right under new. Click new. And then let's just go over the basics of what's in pattern mode. You have tempo, which is how fast or how slow the beat plays. And there's a few ways that you can set that. You can just twist this knob here and set your tempo. You could also use the buttons here on the right side, the data buttons, to go one at a time, you know, one beat at a time. Or you can hold down the cursor and twist the knob, and that'll take you to the 10th place. So if like 90.2 or 90.5, or I could use the buttons to do like 90.68. You know, if you're trying to match up to an old record or something, you need to be in between the tempo. That's how to do it. Just hold down the cursor button and either twist the knob or hit the data. Most cases you're just going to be setting it to a round number. In this case, I don't know exactly what tempo that I want the beat to play, so I can also tap the tempo button here and find the appropriate tempo. You know, maybe like 95. It'll get you close. 95, 94, somewhere around in there. The second thing here is tracks. I've got 16 tracks on Beat Thang. This is 1 through 8. I can also hit the 9 through 16 button, and then that'll get me tracks 9 through 16. So let's go to track 1. The way I get to there is just hit the 1 button here. And then the next thing is I want to pick a kit. Okay, so I would just select through my kits. I can load, there's hundreds of kits to choose from. In this case, I know which one I want. Just hit the enter button on the knob. It's going to load it up. It's going to take a few seconds because this is a big kit. I've got a lot of samples in it. It's loading off my SD card. Okay, so now that's in there, I can audition the sounds that are on that kit, and then I'm ready to record it. But before I record, there's a few settings that I want to show you. There's bar length. Bar length is how many counts of 4 it's going to be before it loops around. The cool thing is I can set this very easily for each track. So track 1 can loop at 4 bars. Track 2 can loop at 8 bars, track 3 can loop at 16 bars, etc. Making it real convenient for you to make your loops. So I'm going to set track 1 to 8 bars. Then I've also got quantize. I can set quantize off, or I can set it to any one of the settings, and all the settings are there. Well, what is quantize? Well, quantize, if you get off tempo, quantize basically fixes your beats to where it puts you on tempo. So if you mess up a little bit, no problem, it'll fix it. Then I've got 2 modes here for record mode. I've got overdub and replace. And the way I switch between them is with this little knob here or with the data button. And replace mode, every time I hit rewind, record, and play, it's going to erase the last thing I did and go over the top of it. If I set it to overdub mode, when I hit rewind, record, and play, it's going to go over the top of the last thing I did. I usually set mine to replace mode. That way if I mess up, all I have to do is hit rewind, record, and play. But depending on how you want to use it, you can set it to either one. If I click the more button here, I've got swing, and I'll show you what that does after I get a beat in here. Okay, so now we're ready to make a beat. So all I have to do is hit record and play. Now it's going to loop. So that's looping there. You can keep adding stuff. Now I'm going to put in something here that I wouldn't normally let stay. Maybe like this part right here. Now let's say I want to get rid of that, but I like the rest of it. Well, how would I do that? Okay, so I just wait for that part to come around. I hold down the delete key, right? And then whatever key that I'm trying to delete for the amount of time that I'm trying to delete. And watch, it won't play while I'm recording. Gone. I can of course put it back real easy if I want. So that's how to make a quick beat. Now let me keep it playing and I'll show you another cool thing. If I click the more button here, I can get to what's called swing. I click that button and I can make the whole beat swing. Add that little groove to it, just like that. Click the more button again a couple times, and then I can get to the click volume. Click volume is how loud the click track is. You can also make the metronome or the click play while the beat's playing, or I could set it to just record. Now I'm back to my main screen here. I could flip the whole pitch of the whole beat just by moving the pitch knob. Or I could pitch it up, release it, and it goes back to normal. I can sequence that too. So let's say on that last 4 bars, so I can sequence the pitch as well. So that's pretty much pattern mode. That's the basics of how to use it. I could go to track 2 and then I could, you know, put some bells or something else in there if I wanted to. Let's put like a, see, remembered my pitch. Let's pick a little bell here. And then I can use my bank up and down buttons here to get to the different. You notice that's looping every 4 bars. So I got the first track looping at 8, second track looping at 4. And I could have track 3 loop at 16. So real easy, simple, and I could rewind to do the just like that, or I can fast forward. And then stop. So that's the basics of pattern mode. A song on Beat Thang hardware is where you take one pattern and then make it play for a certain amount of time, and then go to the next beat or the next pattern and make it play for a certain amount of time, and then to the next beat and make it play for a certain amount of time. So you can take one pattern, a second pattern, a third pattern, fourth pattern, and string them all together to where when you hit play, it plays them in a sequence. So it's real easy to do, so check it out. So first thing I do, of course, like I told you, I hit the song button. Then I'm just going to click new for a new song. And then I can use it gives me an empty slot here, and I use my data knob here to twist through and load a pattern. Just highlight an empty slot, pick which pattern you want to play, and then it puts it on there, and then how many times you want it to loop, then go to the next one, pick which pattern, how many times you want it to loop. Then once you get it the way you want it, you can hit the save button here. Save it as, you know, AJ song or whatever, or you could call it blip. For the sake of time, I'll just call it AJW song, and then save it to my SD card. Boom. Anytime I want to get to that song, I can just click the song button, and it'll pull up here in my list. AJ song, load. Hit play, loads the samples, and then it'll start playing. You can also hit the file button and rename it, save it to a different location, or cancel. Or I could always go back in and edit that same song just by hitting the edit button, and I can make changes to it, do whatever. This is where the real fun and the real power starts coming out in Beat Thang hardware, is the ability to load your own samples, the ability to make your own kits. First thing you're going to do is you're going to hit the kit button. data wheel on the right and start twisting it. And then you can just pick a kit, boom, load it. To pick a pad that you want to put your sound on, you just click that pad, and then you just twist this knob right here while it's on sample. And then you can scroll through your different categories here. So in this case, I want a kick drum, so I'm just gonna scroll till I get to my kick drums, right? Let's see here, kicks. Or I can scroll one at a time through my different kicks till I find what I'm looking for. So I got my kick drums here. And then I can scroll through my list here, find which one that I want to use. Let's do bust. So that's my kick. I got my kick assigned to pad 0 here. Now there's a few things along here on the bottom I want to show you. If I click on this button right here, it'll take me to my volume screen. So I can turn up the volume for that kick drum. I could pan it left or right. I could change the pitch on it. Up or down. -4 is good. And then I could click more. I could turn it to trigger, re-trigger, one shot, or gate. Well, what does that do? Re-trigger starts the sound from the beginning every time you hit the pad. One shot, it basically plays the sound out all the way through every time you hit the pad. And gate basically only plays the pad as long as you're holding down the button. So for a kick drum, I would set that to re-trigger. If it was a loop, I might want to set that to gate. That way the loop only plays if I'm holding down the key. Then I've got cutoff and resonance, which just add different characteristics to the sound. You can experiment with that, and you'll get different sounds when you twist the knobs and on those. Click more again, I've got delay and reverb send, so I can send that kick to the delay or to the reverb, just like that, or I could turn that off. I got attack, decay, sustain, release, which these are envelopes, and you'll just have to experiment with these, but they make the sound do different things. It's another way to edit your sounds. And you know, say if I want that kick to be real tight, see, I could set my decay to 25, no sustain, no release, make that kick real tight. I can click more, and then I've got my start and my end point, so I can edit the waveform right on the screen just by clicking on start point, twisting the knob, or clicking the end point and twisting the knob. And I've also got auto chop, but this is a kick drum, so it's already chopped up. We'll show you auto chop in a different tutorial, but this is where it lives. I click more again, and I've got my start and end point velocities and voice groups. Well, I'll show you what voice groups do in a minute, so let's keep building this track. But basically, or building this kit, basically what the start and end point velocities do is allows me to layer my kicks, or snares, or claps, or whatever, and then pick the velocity that it triggers on. So I could go to layer 2 here by just selecting this layer. Let's say if I want to put some kind of hit or stab on top of that kick, or combine two kicks. What I would do is I just highlight layer, and then use the data button to go to layer 2. And then I can take like, I don't know, some other kind of sound, like maybe like a synth sound or something like that, and layer it. Let's just pick one random. See how it added that snare, or added that synth to that kick, and then I can set the volume for that snare, or the volume for that synth too. So now I've got 2 layers. I got the kick on layer 1, and then I got the synth on layer 2. Simple, easy. Then I go to pad 2 here. I want to make a snare, right? So all I'm gonna do is scroll in here to my snares, pick a snare, you know, something maybe like BR snare. I don't know what that is. Set the volume of it. Now say I don't like that snare. Well, I can twist the knob and pull up the groups, or I can just use the buttons to go one at a time. Perfect. Now I can go to pad 3, Maybe put like a clap on there. So I'll just scroll over till I find my claps. Pull the volume up on that. Maybe find a hi-hat. Scroll back over here to my samples. Twist my knob here. And now we're looking for hi-hats. Hi-hats. Maybe tick. Load. Pull my volume up. Now let's say I want to copy this sound to the next pad. The way I do that, we'll just click the pad I want to copy, hit insert copy, click the pad I want to copy to, hit it again, overwrite that current pad, yes. Now I've got the same sound on 2 pads. But let's say I want to make that an open hi-hat. I just keep scrolling here until I find the one. Okay, now let's go back to voice group. So you want to make that open hi-hat shut when you click this. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? So all I have to do is click the more button here until I get to what it says voice group. And I can turn voice group to M1 on this pad, M1 on this pad. That way, feel me? So pad 1 closes pad 3. Now if I had a different hi-hat or something like over here on these other ones, I could set this pad to voice group 3 and this pad to voice group 3. You've got 7 mute groups. Is what we call them, mute groups. So one pad that basically turns off the other pad. So basically there's my little, there's my kit. And let's say I wanted to take this snare right here and I wanted to make it go, you know what I'm saying? I want to come down in the pitch from the high pitch to the low pitch. You know what I'm talking about. So I just like I would just click copy that snare and I'm gonna bank up to go to a different bank, an empty bank. I'll put that on pad 12, hit insert copy again, overwrite current pad, yes. Okay, there's that snare. Now I can use another feature called key span. What key span does, so just scroll over to it with the more, you'll see that it's the last thing. It says key span here. I just click that, and then I can say, okay, I want that to go to all the way down to this pad right here, and I want it to end maybe at this bank, C4. And then I just click complete. And now see? So that's how to take one sample and spread it across the keys. Now you could do that with instruments, you could do that with any kind of sound. It could be a kick drum or whatever. Let's say I like that kit, I want to save it. All I have to do is click save and name it. I can name it, let's call it D1. Let's give a little shout out to D12. You know what I'm saying? I can name it the D12 kit, whatever. I could save it to my SD card or to the device. Save it to my SD card. Boom. And anytime I want to find that kit, there it is, right there. And I can click load. And I'll say, I like it. So I'm ready to make a beat with that kit. I'm going to show you a secret, something real, a cool, convenient way to just take that kit and then put it onto an empty track and make a beat out of it right after you do it. So I just saved it, and basically watch on the box here, watch me do this. All I have to do is hold down edit and then click pattern, and then boom, it puts that kit on a blank track and I'm ready to make a beat out of it. I can set my tempo here to like 98 or 97, 96, whatever I want it to be. Hit record and play, just like this. Boom, boom. Those claps in there. Then I'll put that snare roll coming down on the top of it. Watch. Just like that. Simple. But the cool thing is that I'm able to go back to that pattern, right? I can say that pattern while it's playing. Just name it J pattern, just for quicks. Let's call it, or maybe since I already have one name that, let's call it JAX. Save it. So I save it, and then boom, there it is. There's my beat. Now, if I ever want to go back, I can have that beat playing. Let's say I want to do the reverse. Let's say I want to edit that kit while the beat's playing. Well, I just highlight it, go to the track where that kit is at. I can even leave it playing. And then all I have to do is hold down edit and click kit, the reverse, right? Kit mode's gonna blink. The beat's gonna keep playing. Take it a second, it's thinking, it's figuring things out. Now, I'm back in kit edit mode while that beat is playing. And I can maybe run through a different snare. Change that clap. Highlight that, I can change the pitch of that snare. I could even change the kick. I could change the volumes. So it's another way to edit your kit while the beat's playing. So if you want to fine tune it or whatever. And then all you have to do is hit save. And it saves that kit, exit out, and I'm back to my pattern. I can keep recording, keep adding to it. So it's real easy. So that's the way to basically create a kit, assign it to a pattern, or take a pattern and then edit that kit while the pattern's playing. Now, if I want to make a new pattern, I'll show you how to find that kit again. I just click new on pattern, scroll over here to where the empty kit thing is, and I can find that kit in my list here. Same way I could find any other kit. I think I named it like D12 or something like that. Boom, there it is. Just like that. So it's real flexible and easy. You don't have to do a lot. You can get right into it and build your kit, make a beat out of it instantly, and then once you're making that beat, oh man, I want a different sound, I want a different snare, that snare's not loud enough, whatever, boom, you can go right back into it, edit it right there on the fly while the beat's playing. Pretty powerful stuff.
I'll leave these in because that's my audio, but I can also take that out. And notice, we're still lit up, we're still going, we still have power. The reason why is because BEAT THANG comes with a lithium-ion battery. You can plug it in, charge it up just like your laptop, and you know, it'll do that for about 3 hours under normal illumination. So let's talk about the back panel a little bit. From left to right, power switch, charge. SD cards, each one of those will do about 32 gigabytes. So you got 64 gigs of SD. Notice that you have a USB type A and B port. Reason why that's there is to allow you to plug in your thumb drive. Also, you can extend your sounds via the USB, via the SD, and you can also connect this to your computer, and you can drag and drop sounds across from your application, which actually the BEAT THANG happens to ship with its own application that will work as a librarian in the next version, but in this version here, in the present version, the BEAT THANG acts as a controller for that application, and that application will load into your DAW as a VST or AU plugin. Next, there is the old-fashioned, you know, tried and true MIDI in, MIDI out via DIN. You got a foot switch for all you guitar players. Since it's a sampler, if you want to sample, you want to be hands-free, use a foot switch. Next, you got 2 headphone outs. These are stereo. So you got independent levels for each one of these headphones, headphone 1, headphone 2. These are both stereo outputs, and that's separate from your main output. The main output is also a balanced output, so you can take this thing to the studio, plug it up to a high-end Neve or SSL console, and it'll be nice and quiet. Total harmonic distortion, is about 0.01%, a lot lower than the human ear can detect. So this thing is high quality, high output, low noise. Next, we have this Neutrik connection. This input will accommodate a large or small diaphragm condenser microphone, and also a stereo plug, which will allow you to sample from any stereo source or any line level source, mono or stereo actually. As you can see, I was sampling right from my iPod or my iPhone, and just running iTunes and sampling some things in, and you can do that too. Whatever kind of line level input you want to sample from, you have that option. And notice that there's also phantom power. Phantom power will allow you to use condenser microphones and some ribbon microphones that will require phantom power. But be careful with that, because if you plug a ribbon microphone in that doesn't, you probably burn up a really expensive microphone. So don't say I didn't warn you. You got your level also right here, so you can change your level, input level, and then inside the software, you can also adjust your trim, adjust your gain, and fine tune your level. To a drum machine, the pads are like strings are to a guitar, and we took a lot of time to get this right. So the pads are also, if you notice, they're organized in a chromatic pattern. So these will be your white keys, these will be your black keys, and notice that you have one octave right here on the pad. You got this bank button, so you can bank up, all the way down, 8 octaves. And if you want 8 octaves at the same time, or 6 or 4, that USB on the back, that B port, you can also plug that in, or plug a plug and play controller in there, and then you've got a keyboard out on the side. So very versatile. Everything in here, there's 3,000 sounds. There's about 300 kits that come loaded right off the top. So you buy this thing, it comes stock, packed with over 1 gig of sound set data right out of the box. And when you get the BEAT Thang, then you also get another 1,500 sound download of sounds that we created in a collaborative effort with Dallas Austin, music producer Dallas Austin. And some of you guys might know him from his work with Pink or Michael Jackson or Madonna, or this thing is really getting around the industry. It's on the last Chris Brown album. will.i.am used it on the Hardest Ever, last Michael Jackson album. I mean, these are really professional sounds, high-end sounds, and it took us about 2 years to create the ones on here. Rather than talk about it, why don't I just show you how easy it is to create a beat? I got a kit that I like. I'm gonna tap a tempo. You don't know what your tempo is, you can just tap it out, fine tune it, go back to the top, hit your record and play, and you're ready to go. I can monitor, I can mute that monitor, I can play with the sounds without recording the sounds, or I can jump back in record mode and record whenever I'm ready. When I find something that I want, I just jump back in and I record. And while I'm recording, I can pull in another kit on another track. Load it up, stock kits. I like that, now go. just drums. There's synths, guitars, all kinds of sounds, strings, whatever. I'm gonna pull some in. You one of these synths. Change my bar length. I can do individual bar lengths. First one's 4 bars, next one's 8. I'm gonna take this. One more sound. Change my bar length again. Go into my mixer, change my levels. Easy as that. It's just that easy. Just that easy. Check this out. Go back to my effects. There it is. You got it straight from the source. Revis Mitchell, BKE.
Behold the secrets of nature's deepest mystery. 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 Behold the secrets of nature's deepest mystery.
Rockwell chopping loops on the city bus. Got a new sampler, don't know what it really does yet. A couple hours, then it's thunder showers. Call up Scott the power box, cause his drum's the loudest. Sample dude down on Danforth busket. Man, he don't play like broken transport buttons. Cypher forms and you buzzing around it. Now it's man versus machine, no plugs or outlets. Mouthpiece leaking with hazardous toxins, like a punch in the face where he sampled his boxing. Had to go through hell like a divorce famo. Chop a piece off of the devil just for a horn sample. Block parties get shut down, you brown nosing. We unplugged and still the sound going. Campus anywhere in town flowing. Crown golden with loud motions, a part of Gene when we get the crowd open. We make a good time in a carpool lane, with metronome thoughts and the hard loops playing. Started spitting cool bars, few statements to toss a nice hook like harpoon training. I'm about music, not the YouTube fame. We fly off top like a loose toupee with the portable lab. You can record in a jag, street corner collabs, making beats in the form of this cab. I'm about music, not the YouTube fame. We fly off top like a loose toupee with the portable lab. You can record in a jag, street corner collabs, making beats in the form of this cab.